guys. Today I'm going to be talking about the 2019 NHL Draft. It just finished yesterday, and I just wanted to kind of give a reaction of what my thoughts are on how it all went over. So I know maybe not as many people who watch hockey as much or are in tune with really how the entire process goes are aware, but I know some people were wondering why the number 2 pick, Capo Caco, wasn't more expected to be the number 1 overall pick. And what a lot of people don't realize is that he was getting a lot of hype in the last segments of the IIHF, or the International Hockey tournament that was going on, because he was doing a really good job against some quality teams in the NHL. But one thing that people have to realize is that when you go over a player's prospect profile, that you have to look over basically everything they've done, including now, but kind of, have an entire file built over time between the players' development and basically how they fare in all the different leagues that they end up playing in. So the reason I say that is because a lot of people are wondering, well, why Jack Hughes? And the main reason being is because he's been the highest rated prospect for more than a few years now, not only by major hockey websites, but a lot of well-known hockey sources. A lot of people were trying to bash his performance in the same tournament that Capo was in, but overall their stats were somewhat similar, where Caco still had the better outing, but he, I think it was 18 games and he had 11 points, where Hughes had something of 7 games played and 4 assists. But the big difference is that you have to always remind yourself when you're talking about something as complicated as the 2 first picks is that Capo, hard name to say, I know. Actually proud that I've been able to say it so far. But he not only got to play on the first line and had way more minutes than Jack Hughes, but he was playing for a country that gave him those minutes because they had less talent overall throughout the roster, where Jack was playing on the U.S. team and was actually, I think it was on the 3rd and 4th line, and the coach didn't give him even half the minutes that Capo had. So I think a big reason why, as you can see, the Devils picked Jack Hughes at number 1 overall is because of that fact that in very limited time, in 7 games, he still got 4 assists. Not to mention that he's broken Ovechkin's scoring record in the U.S. and different tournaments that have been going on. In the under 20 international tournament, he broke Ovechkin's record. So there's a lot of reasons to not overlook the fact that Jack was pretty much the clear-cut number 1 overall pick. Nothing to take away from Capo Caco. I think, as much as I don't really like the Rangers, as many people know, I think they got a quality player, and I think they're both going to be a pretty huge game changer for the NHL. You're probably looking at your a few of those 2 are probably going to be stars for years to come. Not to mention, pretty much that entire top 10, the forwards in this league are going to be pretty crazy. So, but again, another kind of sport where you kind of have to let the players play before you can make your ultimate decision if they're going to be good or not. There's a lot of development in hockey that other sports may not have it as much, because there's a lot of things besides just offense and defense to factor in. There's skating and hockey awareness. So there's a lot these players are going to have to learn. So unlike the NFL, where every round pick's going to play not immediately, but most of the top 4 rounds get playing time almost immediately in the NFL, whereas in the NHL, your first rounders all have chances to make it. Usually only the top 5 actually play in the first year, where your 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th are more trying to develop in a combination of junior leagues in both Canada, U.S., some go to U.S. and Canadian colleges, and they play in the NCAA. And then the European players will play in their respective junior leagues, or they'll play in the the professional leagues. Like there's a Swedish and Finnish hockey league that's also very good talent. So one thing that I don't know if anyone that watches these is a brand new hockey fan or a very recent one, but one thing you have to remember is that the draft works a little different. Where I know the NFL is different, the NBA is pretty different because they only have 2 rounds and their players also play right away. So the NHL is a lot more developmental just because of the different aspects, and not to mention that the players actually, if you notice, are a little younger. Jack Hughes just turned 18. Some of these 7th round and what was it, like 4th to 7th round, some of these picks are 16. So they take a gamble on some of these young players based on the promise they've shown so far. So something we'll revisit when everything comes along, but I hope everyone else's draft was as great as I thought the Devils was. But I'm looking forward to October and for the off season, and more importantly, free agency starts on the 1st of July. So I'll see you there.